Ladies and gentlemen, this is love right here. I love you. I thank you for this purchase. We getting the collection going, baby. You gotta love it, man. You. You gotta love it, man. I appreciate y'all wherever you are tuning in to this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of that good stuff. Hello, world. Man. All right, so we in the trust tree. You know what I'm saying? We in the nest. I want to say I say this all the time, but y'all don't really understand what the thing this is for me, man. I appreciate every last one of y'all, every single one of y'all. It's crazy to me. Like right now, it's acceptance in my life. It's been a challenge. It's becoming less of a challenge, but that's just because of a lot of work that's being done behind the scenes. Man, just talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of the feedback, um, especially like off the channel, the personal one on ones, the DMs, the messages, all of that, man. It's like it's sometimes it's kind of overwhelming, and y'all not gonna get me to cry on this channel, man. I'm not gonna do it, but like, I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. It's like it probably sound crazy for the people that know me that like right now I'm in this space where I'm just like y'all really believe in me. You know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and say I had a story where like don't nobody believe in me. Everybody counted me out. Didn't nobody want me to win. That's that'd be like the biggest load of bullshit I ever brought to the channel if I said something like that. Cause nah, man, there's really people that, man, stop it, cut it out, cut it out, man. For real, I love y'all, man. Like, nah, I really love y'all. It's crazy. Um, y'all could have told me though. Y'all waited until after the fact. I was, for those like I've shouted this podcast out a few times. We're not even gonna go there with the name, but I was building on another network with another community, and once I made it official that I wasn't going back to that podcast, then I really started to get feedback from people on that, and it was like good. Like this is people glad that I'm getting back to doing what I do because like this is my space right here, and it's not that I can't build with other people. It's just call it a different frequency. We just move into a different tune. We march into a different beat. So, like, when I got to the point where I could just accept that, that's when it got a lot better for me on just being able to let it go. So, I spoke to this in the stories before, but it's kind of like a funny set of circumstances how that went. Shout out to my boy Tron. Man, you somebody else I appreciate a whole lot. Um, and even the chemistry I was building with Double C's, Coco Chanel. That was another like just cool person to meet. Never met her before until we got on the podcast together. So, just like the time we got to kick it, that was cool. I appreciate her too. Um, what I appreciate about that podcast is it was a different kind of experience for me. Being around people that I had never met before, and then you jump on the podcast and you figure out like, okay, we think like this might be able to work so much so that we trying to figure out how to do this on a regular basis. But behind the scenes, it's like everybody has like a different story. It's different things going on for all of us. So for me, my first appearance on the podcast, right before that, I had an accident, and just a freak accident, man. I was sitting at a red light. I wasn't even a part of it, but then accident happened across the street, and one truck bounced off the other one, hopped over the median, and ran right into me. And there was somebody behind me, so it's not like if the coast was clear, I actually had time to back up. But since I couldn't move, it's like I was stuck. It's crazy how things happen sometimes, but I didn't have nowhere to go. So then I'm the second car, but I'm the second car at the red light, but like I just happened to be the one that ran into it, man. Uh, life get on the comedy tip sometimes and just throw me a lot of stuff that when I could just take a step back, I'm just laughing at. So that was one thing. Like right before my first appearance, that happened. I had been talking to Tron probably off and on for like a good year about the podcast. I started my channel already, but for the people that for like the OG viewers, y'all know this thing has been through so many different changes. But I started up my channel in, was it 4 years ago? I think it was 2019. My first video was a tribute to my granny. So for the people that don't know where Stony came from, it wasn't like it's a play on words from Boney James to Stony James, but James is the family name, and then Stony was the name that my granny called me. So I guess, as a part of all of the tributes that I paid to her, my first video was on my birthday, but it was about her. And then the name came from her too. Like that's from me being a baby. That's what she called me. That was just her name for me. So don't disrespect it. You don't get out the way because we'll have some problems. I'm taking up the mantle with that, and like I said, it just means so much more to me now that like I hold it close to me. It's near and dear to my heart. That's just a thing for me right now. So she's really the motivation, and I always she's the motivation behind me even starting my channel in the first place. So, so hold up. While I'm at it, let me do something right quick. All right, just like magic, we right back at it. So in continuing the story, that was my first appearance. It's probably my favorite appearance on the show, just cause I don't know. It was just like it was outside of trying to figure out how to dance around. Like I'm only there to be like supportive. I'm not there to take over the podcast. I understand not over like I'm not there to take over the podcast. Like I understand don't outshine the master. Like I'm just there to be a help. You know what I'm saying? So like it wasn't even the point of my appearance wasn't to take over. It was just like, man, it's good vibes with somebody I've been knowing for a long time. Let's just see if let's just see how this goes. Cause he like I said, he was talking to me for, a better part of maybe a year before I finally decided like, okay, I'm going to just get on here. I mostly stick to my own thing, but, a lot of that was just out of fear. When it came to dealing with other people, you really never know how that's going to go. So I'd rather just do my own thing on the side. But I'm starting to get out of that, let that go, because I know, like, even being in this space, where I agree with some of the people that understand what community is about, it is better for all of us if we could figure out how to work together. So the first appearance, I didn't say a whole lot, but I felt like it was a success in just like showing up and doing the work. That was mainly what it was about. It was a challenge to myself to just show up and do the work. I was ready, I was prepared, and I had a good time. But these strange occurrences happen where you just go, all right, what's going on? So, I gotta say, while I'm at it, it's beef season. Beef season is in full effect. All right. Now that I said that, we can get back to it. All right. So, My second appearance on the show, uh, we had equipment failure, so we got no sound. That was kind of crazy because it just happened like, they're trying to figure out how to get it to work. We still went live, like we still like powered through it, but it was kind of like a lost episode. Like, and we actually sat there through the whole podcast. I don't know, it just like for whatever reason, it just wasn't working out. I don't know. Like as far as I know, that's the only time that's ever happened. But and I can't even speak to the equipment failure. I don't know exactly, something with the cords or the wires or something like that, but it just wasn't working out. We still pushed through it and made it happen. But um that was crazy. So then third appearance on the show went without a hiccup. It's just that, from then we're trying to, like I said, this community building, we're trying to figure out how to like get this going. And, that podcast has been through a couple of different like iterations, different versions of the podcast. Has been different people on. Some have been regulars up to a point, and then things change. So at that point, we were trying to figure out like, okay, this might be a regular thing. Let's see if we can do this. And the crazy part is like on my end, for months I had been trying to get my schedule changed, and I kept getting denied, denied. But as soon as I decided, like, okay, like I'm gonna commit to this podcast because on this day I'm off every week. Like I know I can be here. That's not a problem. So I can at least do this day every week. And then as soon as I made up in my mind that I was going to commit to the podcast, then that's when they approved the schedule change. It was like, I mean, the same week. It was just like, wow. So I went and did another podcast, like one more week, and that, ended up being my last one. I still tried to support the podcast, but along the way, I kind of learned a few things when it came to that. Uh, so again, like I don't have an issue with Tron. I appreciate the way that he, like, I already like shouted him out and just Zenny Lou, all of that, just opening up that space. It was really some therapy sessions going on in there some days. And then other times where I showed up and it was just like them opening up the door to me and treating me just like family at a time where they didn't even understand what I was going through in my life because I wasn't really talking about it. It was just like having somewhere to go where, like, if you don't, like, my family wasn't even seeing me at that time. Yeah, I've been the kind of person to just get up and go. Like, I'll go, hey, call somebody, hey, what you doing? All right, cool. You ain't doing nothing. I'm on the way. Not in a disrespectful way, but my family just know me. Like, I love them. That's my friends. That's my family and my friends. I'd rather spend time with them and talk to them than anybody. But I was just going through a lot of things, and life is transitioning. A lot of things happening. I kind of just like pulled back into the like reclusive style of living, where I just go into my corner, and nobody was seeing me, nobody was hearing from me. But it wasn't like a red alert. It was more so just like just a different time in life. So outside of going to work and going home, like it was the Zen Lou spot. That's why I really missed that camaraderie that was built there. I miss having that space open, and things change. Things change all the time. So with so with so with all of those changes, now my schedule is changing, and it's like I gotta pay attention to the signs and realize what's going on because it's actually been a few signs if I pay attention to what's been happening, like surrounding this podcast. It's something I want to do, or maybe it's not necessarily the best thing for me. So I start to realize, like in going back and looking at things, it's a different kind of audience. If I'm being honest with myself, we really not agree we're really not going to agree on a whole lot of topics, and that's even from like I was always in the comments, but especially with like the new people added to the show and everything, it's people that don't really know me, talk to me kind of crazy. You don't know me like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just bow out gracefully, cause I don't want to be a problem. But like again, man, like I got into this space where I just had to learn how to just let people do what they do and remove myself from the space. I'm not gonna try to argue with you about nothing. I don't have a point to prove. You don't know me, and because you don't know me, I'm gonna go ahead and forgive you for misstepping, cause I'm not the one. I'm not the one, man. That's why it's better for me to just like lean into all of the work that I've been doing personally, because just that quick I could jump outside of that and you will see I'm not the one. I'm not the one, man. This whole digital space is like very plagiaristic. People thirsty for any kind of content, and so that's where I never really understood. Like I sided with J. Cole where he talked about kind of being upset with some of the older artists that have been in the game, where they created music, and like the basis of hip hop is like the samples, the loops, digging in the crates, taking whatever was created before and turning that into something new. But these artists put their hearts and souls into it. Like it's a whole lot of work that went into these songs. Like, man, some of these songs go so long, and you find a little piece of it. I think it's impressive for the producers and the DJs how they were able to find just the perfect spot to loop that, or turn that into a beat, the breaks and all of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it took for me to become a creator to understand just how near and dear they hold that stuff to like their hearts. This is my creation. I spent all my time and effort and energy into it. Like, no, I don't want you taking what I did and remixing it or turning it into something else. Like, I remember Shaka Khan calling Kanye, I don't remember what she called him, but like she was real mad about that Through the Wire. She was really mad about that Through the Wire. She did not like what he did with that. Which, I mean, at the start of his career, like how many songs have been bigger than that for him? Like that's a staple in his career. But she couldn't stand it. So again, it took for me to come into the creator space to understand why people are reacting this way. When you work so hard on your own thing, you just want it to exist as what it is. So now I'm understanding intellectual property and why people covet it the way they do, because like it's an important thing, man. When you even if it's a group effort in the production, not a group is involved, but man, like putting all that stuff in your back and coming up, sitting up and man, this stuff is hard. It takes, even this right here is hours that you wouldn't even imagine that goes into just a 20-minute video, 30-minute video. If we talking about an hour, 2 hours, like people just thirsty for content, and when you have to sit back and do production, you got to be the videographer, you got to be the editor, like you got to be the subject, you got to come up with the topics, you got to make things interesting, you got to be engaging, you got to be charismatic. There's a whole lot that goes into this that people don't even understand until I sit you in this spot, and then, okay, let's see what you do. Like everybody sitting back watching, like, what are you going to do about it? So yeah, I got into that spot where I was like, oh, okay. Like I understand. I can completely understand where the original artist has some kind of beef. You might be looking at a lawsuit, or no, I need a part of your publishing. I need a piece of that. Whatever it is that you so-called created, that you just really took from me, like I need a piece of that. You know, it's like it's your baby. So yeah, man, like getting into this space, it really gave me a better look into the eyes of just being a creator. Cause, you know, we can all narrow it down in some kind of way to like it's just creativity. Whether you like whatever artistry, like whatever way you choose to be an artist, whatever you use as your canvas, whether it's actual like painting on the canvas, whether it's music, whether it's uh, you know, pictures or videos and, you know, directing. I mean, there's so many different ways to get your point across through artistry, but it's all creation. So we are creators to a certain degree. I now understand that like I never did before. And being in this space, like I noticed like I've really been proud of myself because man, if you go back to okay, outside of I won't even count the video that I did as a tribute, but then right after that it was the Black Lives Matter video, and that video is probably like 2.5 minutes worth of content. So that's funny to me because now I can sit here. To be honest, a lot of times I get cut off for whatever reason, or I'll even cut myself short. There's a lot of times where I'm just like, in my mind, I got this certain internal clock. I'm cutting it off. But it's so much easier for me to talk for longer periods of time now. Man, honestly, that really just came from repetition. Like, taking this thing seriously, sitting down and doing it, being more intentional about what I'm doing, and, you know, just putting the reps in. It's like working out. Like, the longer I do it, the easier it is for me to push out this content. But again, it takes a lot of work. It takes a whole lot of thought I put into it before I even sit down and press record. So yeah, man, of course I hold that like near and dear to my heart because I don't play games with this. Most of the time I'm straight to the point. A lot of my personality even gets missed in this because I have a purpose to what I'm doing. It's not really about trying to be a character, you know. I am a character, but you don't get a whole lot of that from like what I'm doing here cuz like I don't know. It's I go to a different space whenever I'm sitting here because of how intentional I am and because of how seriously I take this. So that's just one of those things I'm trying to work through, understanding that like everybody is so thirsty for content that you got to understand they coming your way. No matter what level you at, they coming your way. It's happened to the best of us. It's happened to the worst of us. So I think, you know, before I get into a space of trying to be litigious about it, I really want to, I don't know. I don't even know how to handle that one. It's just, it's something that, it's something that I'm dealing with. And I don't know if I'm necessarily struggling through it. It's just it put me on notice. Like I realized, okay, uh, well, I guess if it's one thing that I find solace in, is just that if you're sitting around waiting for me to make content, if you're that thirsty for content, you'll always be behind me because you got to wait for me to put it out. So, you know, timestamps. We'll always be able to prove where that came from. So, I don't know. If you're getting sloppy, you might want to tighten up. Nah, this is crazy. And going back to my original point, I really thank all of the people that have been so supportive of what I've been doing because, man, what I've been the happiest about is I truly understand investing in yourself now. And y'all can probably tell that I'm doing a lot more to not even prove it to other people, but like support myself. Like you got to start somewhere, man. If y'all could see this, like if I could take pictures for y'all to really see the space that I was in, where I put up the curtain behind me and was just trying to create something out of that, it's hilarious. It's hilarious, man. Didn't have the necessary equipment, but I just made it work. Man, I was doing everything from a Galaxy phone, from recording to all of my edits, trying to zoom all the way in so I can make sure I'm getting it precise and all that kind of stuff. But I learned so much through that process that it really helped me as I started to add my like better equipment, better material, better content. Like I'm better for it because I went through all of those storms, all of the trial and error, realizing that I'm gonna have to upgrade my equipment. I can't stand the way this sounds. I can't stand the way this looks. But here we are. Like it is what it is at this point. I'm just gonna have to figure out how to make it work. And so that what I loved about the beginning is I was just having fun and I was learning. And now it's a lot more technical for me. So some of the things that I critique myself about, y'all probably don't even notice. But it's because I have an end game in mind. I actually have a vision for where all of this is going, which is crazy because if you look at where I started, I don't even think you probably, I don't think you probably guessed that I would end up at this point, not end up because it's not the end, but I don't even think you see me being here. Or I don't know. I don't even know what the outside perception is. Again, like the support that I've been getting from people and the way that people have been making a push, I know is a lot of that is coming from people can actually see that I'm taking this serious now. But then I'm on myself all the time. I beat myself up about I just want to put out quality content. If I'm gonna take up your time, if I'm gonna have you like checking out whatever it is I'm doing, I want to make sure that it's worth it. I could talk about a whole lot of stuff that really don't matter, but that would just be filler. And I guess as all with all of these digital creators out here, you get into a space where sometimes you just need any old content and anything will do. You'll create something out of nothing. You do whatever it is you feel like you need to do to make. Shoot, a lot of the creators now they in a space where they monetized and they got their audience already. They really just trying to keep the dollars coming in. I don't. The hard part for me is like that's really a sad place to be in, man. Where you just making stuff for the sake of making it. There's no heart into it. There's no real love for what you're doing. I don't want to put that on people because whatever. Like you can tell when people are just making stuff to make it. And the hard part for me is I always try to check myself because I don't want to get into that space. Now I am harder on myself because I want to be more consistent. I understand the importance of being more consistent, putting out more material, battling against the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. For me to get my stuff out there, I have to put out more content. So you will see my face more. You will hear my voice more. It's intentional. Like it has to be that way. And I'm not mad at that because, again, like the more practice I put into it, the better I get at it. Whatever I'm training myself for in the future, I don't know. But I keep saying it's headed somewhere. I don't even understand everything that's going on. I don't understand the bug that got placed in me because a couple of years ago, I would have never imagined I'd be sitting in front of a camera with a microphone in my face. I've had certain media dreams before, but it wasn't like this. And like this has kind of expanded my views. It's kind of made me look at a lot of other possibilities for what I could be doing. So I'm grateful for that because it's happening at a time where my life has opened up to the possibility of change. Where everything was so rigid, everything was so structured and scheduled. I didn't have the time for this kind of stuff before. And life goes through, I've been through like a few things in life that have, made me readjust. And when I started to get more consistent, then, here comes some more challenges. So like I said, like the adversary is always at work. And when you see blessings on the horizon, that's when you're going to be tested the most. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of handling it. Every now and then I have a moment where, look, y'all might get a call out the blue because I need to talk to somebody right now. You know, I need to talk to somebody right now. Answer the phone. If you don't answer, I'm going to text you. Like, call me when you get a minute because it's just about release. You know, I have, and like, I don't have a situation where it's like I'm reaching and grasping at straws. I have my circle of people that I can actually go talk to. And they know that phone is not ringing a whole lot with me having issues. So whenever it's ringing, like y'all know I just need y'all to listen. Sometimes I don't need you to solve my problems. I don't need an answer from you. Sometimes it's just like I need to be around people I trust. I need to express this to people that can receive it, and they don't even have to do anything with the information. You know, sometimes it's the love of taking time out of your schedule to just listen to me. You know, that shit can go a long way. And I know it's people out there that don't have a circle. So that's why I said we in the trust tree, man. We in the nest, man. It's people on the inside of the inside, and I love every last one of y'all because what you don't understand is me living through so many years in negativity, having negativity spoken into my life, having negativity spoken directly to me, over me, in different areas and different segments of my life. Like, I've been working on exercising those voices out of the back of my head. So it might be a surprise because of whatever you see on the outside. Internally, it's a lot of different things going on. So I'm really just proud of myself and all of the growth that's been going on. And, you know, you get challenges. It's always tests to see if you really graduated to the next level, where I can proudly say, at least up to this point, I'm doing a pretty good job of that. But I've needed so much help along the way that I'm not crazy enough to act like I'm doing it all on my own. Sometimes it's just messengers, but look, man, it's been people I like come in contact with at different jobs that I've been at, just in the right place at the right time. This is the perfect person for me to talk to. Would have never seen this coming, but I appreciate everything I got from this experience because it's helping me in my life right now. It's helping me put it in perspective. It's helping me to be a lot more analytical, which is kind of my base. Like I analyze, I sit back and look at things. I reason with myself. I'm more so about logic, but I can't act like emotion is not a part of it. Like it's not. I'm not completely devoid of emotion. Although people kind of think that sometimes, it's not reality. Like I'm just like you. Like I get mad, I get angry, I get flustered, I get even scared. You know, I honestly, that's why I put myself in this place in the first place, is because it was a fear. The thing about me is, like, I've been really good at facing my fears because I realized a lot of that stuff was not even as bad as what I thought it would be. I anticipated something so much different and so much worse than what the reality of it was. So once I started facing my fears and overcoming them, I feel like I became a more powerful version of myself because what can you do to me? You know, I've had the worst done and said to me, and still I'm here. So, like, what you got? What you got? Like, man, I don't worry about, especially people. I'm not scared of people at all. I don't worry about that. Like, most of the time, I know how to just sidestep you. I can juke that. I see that. I see what's coming. I see what you're trying to do to me, and I'm just whatever. Whatever, man. Like, go cleanse. Go get yourself together. But yeah, man, I really appreciate the headspace that I'm in. I appreciate the love I receive. I appreciate all the good people around me. I appreciate all the people that just want to see me win, which At a certain point was surprising to me. But when I think about it, it's like, man, why not me? Why shouldn't I see the same thing for myself? You know, especially after everything I've been through, after the way that I've handled it all, man. I know we all going through stuff. That's why I open up my space. That's why I'm so understanding of like all of the things that people go through, because I know this life is crazy, is unforgiving. You got to figure out how to make it through no matter what your story is. No matter what is throwing your way, no matter what handicaps you got to deal with, you still got to figure out a way to make it happen. So that's why I'm not in the habit. I'm not in the habit. I don't know why I'm trying to say something different. That's why I'm not in the habit of making excuses, because excuses are like assholes, right? Like everybody got them. But I can go all the way back to fifth grade. One of the mantras that I've held on to, this is going all the way back to fifth grade: results, not excuses. Because nobody cares about your excuses, man. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your backstory and how people hurt you and how people made you sad and how people did you wrong. Like, man, what are you going to do about it? Because the past is the past, and if you letting that hold you back, then that's something you're going to have to deal with. It's harsh. It's been some times where I've been like, damn, people are so heartless. But nah, man, that kind of attitude is really, to a degree, of course, you got to heal. You got to deal with some of the things in your past, especially if you recognize they like resurface as things you might not even notice. You got to deal with that. But you deal with it in motion, because you still got to live. You still got to make it through every single day. And honestly, a lot of that stuff for every individual story, is for the betterment of your life. Once you realize that part of your story is to make you better, is to make you stronger, if that's how you choose to look at things in a positive way, I mean, that can be the ammo that turns you into a superhero. You know, once you overcome some of the worst that you've been through, you feel like it's nothing that, like, you can handle anything. There's nothing that can be done to you to knock you off your square. So that's really how I'm feeling in my life, man. No matter what comes, no matter how much time I have, like, I feel like I'm invincible until the day I'm not, you know. Until my last day, I feel like, man, I can do whatever it is I want to do. And I appreciate all the people along this ride that just, man, whether you want to be a part of it, whether you just want to be a spectator, like, it's really been overwhelming for me just to see all of the, like, overwhelming love and support I get from people, where y'all don't even understand the kind of headspace I've been in at certain times. To get that kind of support from y'all, like, it's only making me better. So thank you. I love you. I don't just say it because it sounds cute. I say it because I mean it. I say it because I've needed every last bit of support that I've received from every last one of y'all. It's driving me to be better. It's driving me to go harder. You know, it's reminding me that it's actual purpose to what I'm doing. It's actual purpose to my life. And I mean, big examples, small examples, whatever. I'm not trying to separate myself and make myself seem more special than anybody else. We all special in our own right. So take that how you will. I just understand I've been put in certain positions for certain reasons. And whatever that means until my last breath, like, I'm on this ride. Now, people don't know what it takes to overcome some of the things that I've been faced with. And I realized from talking to people that sometimes I just make it look easy. It's not easy. You will have to see me in some of those times to understand just what a difficult time I have. But again, I'm not in the habit of making excuses. That's one thing I will not let myself fall into is making excuses. So, whatever it is, I deal with it as it comes. I take every day one day at a time, and I don't know. It's an interesting. Well, shit. I think about some of the recent challenges I've been faced with. I don't really find them all that interesting. I say that. What I do find interesting is the way that I'm looking at it. There's an initial reaction to certain things, but then I take a step back and I'm so analytical about things that it's like, all right, I had that feeling, but when I backed off of that and I thought about it, there's almost no reaction at all because I can see the field, I see the forest, and not just the trees. Like I'm ascending above some of the BS that used to keep me stuck in the same place. So, nah, I don't have to like beat my chest about all the growth that's happening. People have been pointing it out to me and telling me how proud they are of just how I've been responding to life. So, that's just the confirmation. Um, nah, man, I think a lot of people are sad and like truly sad. But it's nothing I can do for that. It's nothing I can do for you to make you a better person. You got to want that for yourself. You can't put on the facade. You can't fool people into thinking that it's something that it's not because in the true moments in life, when you get an opportunity to prove how different you are, it shows. So you always get the opportunity. As long as you're still around, you get the opportunity to prove it over and over until you actually show and prove. So, man, I wish a lot of people the best. I wish things were different for a lot of people, but you gotta want different from yourself. You gotta want different for yourself. There's nothing I can do for that. Man, I don't live my life living for revenge or get back or really to try to prove a point to anybody. Honestly, what I'm happy about is no matter how I've been, no matter how my character has been attacked or assassinated or the way that people have tried to like make me seem or try to, knock me off my square, like no matter what's been thrown at me, like I just continue to get better every day. I love who I'm becoming because it's unbreakable. I could tell a lot of people, man, in the most simplest way that I don't give a. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Man, I just want to say I love y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate you. And I don't know why you believe in me the way you do, but I know why I believe in me the way I do. So, maybe that's just a reflection. I thank you. And I'm out of here, man. It's time for me to go to bed.